Greetings, dear viewers, and welcome to my fan commentary on episode 9 of Power Rangers SPD Idol, which is a Sky episode with his best friend Drew coming along. I wanted to do this fan commentary to accommodate Blue Ranger Week this week because I started off with my review on the Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Blue Ranger, my top 10 Blue Rangers video, and concluding it with a fan commentary on an episode about the Blue Ranger, well, with an episode of Skies from this episode, from the season for the week. And part of it is a Jack episode too, but it's really a Sky episode. Because we had plenty of episodes where it's Sky and Jack together and, bicker and arguing over stuff. And oh yeah, Doggy Kruger is out for the episode until likely the end. Even though Jack really shouldn't be sitting near Kruger's desk right there anyway in the And just right off the bat, we start off with, what I loved about SPD is that, in some episodes, they do go on the urgings right away to battle a monster. But, what I loved about SPD for years and what I just started to now appreciate for the last 15 years since their season is that, most of the time they would always are already on patrol. And when there's a Trubian monster attacking, and mainly in the Megazord, the Rangers would morph right away, take the Delta Runners to battle monsters, and that's what I like. I also like the fact that we had some Megazord battles in SPD that took place at night, which was great scenery, change of pace. And of course, they had to edit something out differently in this footage because I think this was also an episode for Deca Blue in this point because they're adapting this footage from that following Deca Ranger episode where it was about the Blue Ranger and a friend of his. Of course, they also have to edit around the footage and, oh, look, if it isn't Tyzon's actor, or who would be Tyzon when we get to Overdrive. And he was also previously the actor who played that bully that was picking on Ethan in the Bully for Ethan episode in Dino Thunder. I mean, the same guy that was Ethan's bully last season. He becomes a friend of a Blue Ranger this season. What a coincidence! You sure I ain't missing any continuity references from Dino Thunder to this? Heck, possibly the actor who was playing Drew, which is Sky's old friend, he could have been the SPD Omega Ranger, but no, they decided to make Sam the Omega Ranger. But though, again, he's a ball of light when we get to the Omega Ranger in the rest of the season. Because I just thought about it. I know this could have been some red herring of who the SPD Omega Ranger could have been, because if Drew is wearing a beige, white-looking SPD uniform, he could have been the Omega Ranger. But the Omega Ranger is, of course, his motto. His nickname is Force from the Future, which is a reference to Time Force, in its two-part pilot episode. And I can't believe Sky and Drew got matching SPD bracelets. But if this was an episode, that would have been with any, with Sid or Z. But it just feels kind of weird when you got two guys with two bracelets, and then you got Jack doing simu deck training. Kind of like what we had back in space when the Rangers would be in the simu deck on the Astro Mega ship. We hardly ever see this kind of thing in Power Rangers anymore. And I knew this was already foreshadowing. I keep forgetting the name of the actor playing him. Who would play Taizan later on when they would, cast him again, this time as a Power Ranger for real come Operation Overdrive. Because there was, because when Power Rangers moved to New Zealand, but, starting with Ninja Storm, when it came to using some of the same actors we had from one season to the next, because again, New Zealand's, acting agency isn't, yes, Jack is getting annoyed that these two are still best friends, bros before hoes, right? But, they would always constantly would use somewhat the same actors from the last season and have them play a new character the next season and the next season. I mean, with like James Galen, Kelson Henderson, I keep forgetting the guy who plays Taizan, and the bully from Ethan's Bully episode in Dino Thunder, and Drew here in this one-off SPD episode. They will constantly reuse some of these same actors later on throughout the rest of Power Rangers, with the show still in New Zealand. Even Michelle Langstone, known for playing Kat Manx, would play Master Gwen in Jungle Fury. Because several of these actors that are in New Zealand that have been in multiple Power Ranger productions would appear from this season and then appear in other seasons every now and then. But I feel that Kelson Henderson, though, had the most majority of roles when he was in Power Rangers, starting with this season mainly, and then up to Beast Morphers doing the voice of the Beast Bot of Cruz. And this episode is a little similar to Bully for Ethan from Dino Thunder, but it's the opposite. We learn later that Drew is one of the Trubian aliens in the skies, really. So I don't know why the heck he even has an SPD uniform, and knowing the fact he's really a monster in disguise, thinking he's still Sky's best friend, but it just feels like, and now he looks like he's raging out like he's the Hulk, but then turn around, oh, he's the monster that, this monster here, I forget his name, because again, what a lot of the monsters in the Disney era, I just not good at remembering the names of some of these monsters, especially all the monsters in SPD, because not every single one of them I know about, but I can know who the heck Bugglesworth is in the Sam two-parter, or that lady in that episode that was Bridges' episode that becomes a female flower monster, and also Destruction in the Messenger two-parter when the Omega Ranger shows up. So a lot of the monsters in SPD, I don't really know much of the names, but I know their designs, but I just keep forgetting their names for some of them most of the time. Wu-Tox, oh yeah, even Wu-Tox, which is another Sky episode. I even know who Wu-Tox is as a monster, and that was another episode dedicated to Sky. So Forget the toast. Forget the toast bridge. This in the Sentai footage, whenever they would be in that engine room basement, this engine room basement has been used a lot in Sentai since, I believe, Mega Ranger, because they've been using this footage of them in this basement with all the pipes and stuff, and that red light going left or right. We've been seeing this a lot in Power Rangers since In Space, and here we are this season, via the Sentai footage, with them using footage of them fighting in this room, because, again, whatever that room is, because, that corridor via the Sentai footage. Because I keep seeing this footage a lot, and based on the location they were using it from Sentai, so I can see why. And then look, Sky coming in there looking like he was in Jack's room, because the monster that they were facing, but I don't know what was the ordeal with that there. Oh, Doggy Kruger shows up, because here we are, what, almost 12 minutes into the episode later. And that monorail station in New Zealand, I wonder what that station, that central station is in New Zealand. I gotta hand it to SPD and their production for this season's production value, because what I loved about the season is the production value and some of the locales they used to represent Space Patrol Delta and its HQ, and what it could have been if again, if we had something like this for future seasons, if we had a team of Power Rangers set in the future, especially like if we ever get a Lupin Ranger versus Pato Ranger adaptation, they could use a locale like this, and then seeing Doggy getting zapped by the monster, and then just as soon as he comes back, then Drew attacks Doggy. Like, come on. Very reminiscent to that moment from Avengers Endgame with Captain America facing his 2012 self, but except this is not Avengers Endgame with that. Basically, if when the monster is defeated, what they should have, well, one of the things I also liked about SPD also is that when they after they battle the monster the first time, and then when the monster retreats into its giant robot sort of Megazord, and then when they defeat the monster, they would always put the monster in judgment. And I can't believe Drew broke Sky's friendship bracelet. Well, screw that, right? Bros before hoes, but like bros before nose here. Turns out this guy was a traitor. Some foreshadowing to what Taizan could have been, but I guess screw that, right? I can't believe this is the same dude that screwed over Ethan, and this is the same dude that screwed over Sky. Back-to-back Blue Rangers getting screwed over by the same actor, playing two different characters in a certain manner. What a coincidence. Oh, the same monorail station. We've seen this monorail station here come later on in Clash of the Red Rangers and Samurai. This is also like in Time Force, when we had some mutants that were imposing as humans that are, that the Rangers know about for their one-off episodes. Like for instance, like what was his name, Dax, who played in the last race episode with Lucas, and several other mutants that were imposing as humans too for their one-off episodes as well. SPD even did it here with Drew, and then that again, what was her name? In the bridge episode that was similar. So I've noticed there were some comparisons with some comparisons time SPD has with Time Force in some ways with Rangers and taking down monsters, and well, they don't kill the monsters because see, like Time Force, the SPD Rangers, when they defeat the monster of the week, they don't kill them, they just arrest them and put a judgment verdict, and then whether the monster is guilty or not. See, that's another thing I liked about SPD for so long, is that they're just like the Time Force Rangers, where they don't destroy the monster. They have to bring the monster to justice after the crime they committed each week. But for the rest of many seasons of the series, they have to destroy the monsters because, even if some monsters are lucky enough to come back. It's also nice change of pace with this scenery here with Sky and Drew at this abandoned theater room, and with a film projector playing. Of course, this has to match with what they're doing via the Sentai footage. I also like the shot when Sky, you see Sky unmorph and then just quickly morph into the Blue Ranger already. It matches well with the footage from what you're adapting from that episode of Deca Ranger with this. It's like a Wild West showdown, but inside an abandoned theater room. And then the projector stops. But it actually keeps going, actually. I actually really like this, Wild West showdown inside inside the theater. Oh yeah, some of the monsters in SPD do grow on their own, but I can't believe this monster had a bomb of his own where he can make himself grow. But a lot of the monsters in SPD, they would always have their own Megazords to take down the Rangers and their Megazords. But as soon as they showed the footage of the Delta Runners forming into the Delta Squad Megazord, that footage was in daylight, but the whole entire Zord fight is at night. Well, that's a little inconsistent. The monster is defeated, but they have to. Well, they decided not. Well, he blows up, but they should have did the judgment. But I guess, blow him up. I wish they should have just brought him to justice. Like, use the Delta Morpher to do a well, okay, Sky's doing it, but he's going to now pull the judgment onto him, and then basically he's so therefore Drew is convicted as guilty, and he is under arrest. I also like that sunset, sunrise shot. And then the episode, ends with Grum talking to himself, as usual, because one of the things about Grum, when he's in a dark room by himself, he mumbles and grumbles about how he's going to take down the Power Rangers, take over the Earth, and even I like the way how when he's in a darker room in area, I like how Grum's eyes have a lot of light showing with, all that light in his red eyes. And stuff, and then the green and black scenery. Seriously, do you have to clean up the whole entire facility with a toothbrush? It was so impossible back in the pilot episode when Jack and Z were inducted into the B Squad that they had to wash up all of the thousands of windows of the Delta Command Center, the Delta Base Command Center. It's just impossible. And seriously, Jack and Sky ending the episode talking about, the usual, and about the friendship that Sky and Drew had, and then realizing, well, even though Sky still has some issues with Jack, and Jack has issues with Sky still, the whole red versus blue stuff, right? Because, Rooster Teeth thing. But seriously, do they really have to scrub off this area with the toothbrushes? It will take hours to clean up the whole entire area. No, seriously, it would take a long time to clean up the area. And then he's using Jack's toothbrush to clean up the... That's just ridiculous. It's like, seriously, that is just gross. But anyway, that was the Idol episode of SPD. Yeah, it ended off stupid, but yeah, I can't believe... Dwayne Cameron was the actor. Keep forgetting his name sometimes. Yeah, that was kind of dumb that Sky had to use Jack's toothbrush. Now he's going to have to use a new one.